Welcome to the 2026 MGFOA Week 0 training tape. We had 4 GIAA regular season games and a bunch of GHSA scrimmages both this week and the week prior. I've kind of taken plays from both of those weeks as much as I could and kind of combined them into one training tape. This will be our first training tape of our season and hope you enjoy. All right, let's talk about ineligibles downfield. And that should get so we get a quarterback that scrambles here. Anytime we get a quarterback that scrambles, one of the things we need to be aware of is very often when we get a quarterback that scrambles out either direction on a delayed play where the timing is thrown off of the play, very often a lineman wants to get downfield, right? And you can see this player right here. You can't see his number, but this was the left tackle, right? So a couple things I like about this. The umpire could grab this, but this flag actually comes from the backside wing. So it comes from the headline judge. This was a first half play. The line judge is up here. The headline judge is at the bottom of the screen. Now, this is something we've taught for the last couple of years. I know what the mechanics book says. The mechanics book says the line judge has primary responsibility on ineligibles downfield. But something we have taught here in the MGFOA is, yeah, that's all well and good, but the backside wing, right? Because think about it. If you're the line judge, you're the play side wing on this play, right? He's got a quarterback rolling out. He's got all this traffic. Now he has to go and rule on the catch. He might not see this left tackle leaking out here, right? So whenever we get a play like this, whoever the backside wing, the non-play side wing, and in this case it was the headline judge here at the bottom of the screen, you're going to help us out a little bit on ineligibles downfield. And you can see here comes our flag in just a second. The flag doesn't come in, but trust me, it was called. So this is a really, really good job by the headline judge on the backside of the play, getting this. Anytime we've got a busted play like this, we always need to be aware of ineligibles, and we get a left tackle that's ineligible downfield, and we get a good flag from the headline judge. Okay, so we get a play out here where the quarterback rolls to his right, and we get this pass out to the receiver. So we call an illegal contact against the defenseless receiver on this hit right there, right? So let's talk about the rule. What does the rule say? The rule states that for it to be a foul, first of all, it has to be forceful contact. So if it's not forceful, it's not a foul. It's got to be forceful contact. But you can see here that this is pretty clearly forceful. Now, it's close to whether he's still defenseless, right? But at this point, he's still trying to make the catch, and he has not completed his turn and fully complete his turn and turn into a runner. So at this point, he has not regained his balance. He is still defenseless, and this is pretty clearly a forceful hit. So it does meet that criteria. As a reminder, it can still not be a foul under three different circumstances. One is if the contact is a result of playing the ball, so the defender's just trying to make a play on the ball. But that's not really the case here. You can see he's just really kind of lowering his shoulder in, so that doesn't apply. The second would be as if there's a wrap up attempt. There's no attempt to wrap up here. It's just shoulder into the chest. And the third would be if it's with open hands, and this is again not with open hands. So is the contact forceful? Yes. Is the receiver defenseless? Yes. Is it with open hands, an attempt to wrap up, or an attempt to play the ball? It's none of those things. This is a hit meant to punish. So this is absolutely a correct call. Another thing I love about this play is I kind of love how long it takes our side judge to get a flag. I know it seems like it takes a little while, but you think from the contact until the point that we get the foul is no more than 2 or 3 seconds. It takes some time to process this play, right? To think about it. And make it. We had a lot to rule on here. Catch, no catch. Does he maintain control? And then we also have to rule on the hit. So don't be afraid to throw a late flag on this. It's not a problem to be late with our flags. It just means we're taking our time to kind of digest the play. So absolutely a correct decision here for illegal contact against a defenseless receiver. Okay, so let's talk about the situation here. So the offensive team is attempting a 43-yard field goal, right? we've talked about this in our preseason trainings, right? We said, kick plays are 11% of our plays, but they demand so much more than 11% of our attention, right? Because when things go wrong, they're very often on kick plays. Now, one thing we should have just recognized, we've got to recognize pre snap. And you guys can't see it on the film, but there is a receiving team player standing in the end zone. Okay, that's an important point. The receiving team player is standing in the end zone. Deep judges, if you're under the upright and you see a deep player standing in the end zone, alarm bells should already be ringing because you should already be thinking to yourself, well, why is he standing back here? Now, he's allowed to. He's clearly allowed to stand back there, but why is he standing back here? Because if he catches this ball in the end zone, it's just a touchback. It's dead. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happens. Now, we're not going to see it from this angle. You're not going to see that, but you're going to see that right here. He catches this ball 7, 8 yards. It's deep in the end zone. Okay, this is just a touchback. This is something. This is not, to be blunt, this is not a difficult play. We just have to be focused. And I don't understand how we allowed this to persist. Unfortunately, he runs this for a touchdown. Now, it was called back because we do get a block in the back, but this all could have been avoided if we shut the play down and rule it a touchback. Somebody on the crew has to have alarm bells ringing and going, hey, wait a minute. Didn't that ball cross the goal line? Short wings, referee, somebody. The only person I could say really should never ever have an opinion here is the umpire because he's never going to be turning away from this. But somebody on the crew has to recognize, hey, this ball crossed the goal line. It's a touchback. You can see the visiting team coach is like, hey, what are we doing right now? The play's dead, right? And he's right. We should just be blowing this dead for a touchback. So this was pretty disappointing, if I'm being honest, right? So we got to blow this dead. The next coaching point would, this was pretty obvious, right? He kicks this and it lands 8 or 9 yards deep in the end zone. But let's say it's close, right? It's we don't have anybody on the goal line. So deep wings, right? You're under the uprights. When this ball gets kicked and it's pretty clear it's not going to get all the way to the end line, it's not going to get to the goal line. Your job then is to, as quickly as possible, get to the goal line. Once it's clear the uprights are not a factor, they're not threatened, we want to see our deep wings maybe running diagonally. But the big thing is getting to the goal line as best you can because we do have to make a decision. What if they have a receiving team player standing here at the 1 yard line? Well, now we need to make a decision. Does he catch it at the one or does he catch it in the goal at the goal line? It's a touchback. So a lot of things going on here, but somebody on the crew has got to recognize, hey, this kid's 8, 9 yards deep in the end zone. In high school football, a field goal is a punt that can score points, right? We've said that over and over. And we all know if a punt goes in the end zone, it's a touchback. Well, a field goal is no different. A field goal in high school is a punt that can score points. And so we absolutely have to blow this dead as a touchback. The argument comes up, what do we do here? I would just not enforce the block in the back because the block in the back shouldn't have happened and it was our mistake. So I would just ignore the illegal block in the back. If we recognize this after the play and we have the epiphany and somebody says, hey, what do we do? Just put the ball at the 20. Tell both coaches, hey, the block in the back should not have happened because we should have blown the play dead. That's our fault. The only penalties that I would enforce, there's really not a rule on this, but I think the only penalties that I would enforce if it's during the return and then we realized after the play, oh shoot, that should have just been a touchback, would be anything that was unsporting or a flagrant personal foul. So just a normal blindside block, a block in the back, anything like that, I would not enforce. But if there was a flagrant personal foul or an unsportsmanlike, those we just can't ignore. But in my opinion, I think your best bet is just to say, hey, the block in the back should not have happened. We're not going to enforce that, and put the ball at the 20-yard line. So we've just got to have awareness, guys. This is a focus issue, and somebody on the crew's got to catch this. Okay, we get another contact against a defenseless receiver. So let's go through our criteria. So this receiver is defenseless. The pass is incomplete. He is defenseless at that point. There is no attempt to wrap up. There is no, you could make it maybe make an argument he's making an attempt at the ball, but I think that's going to be weak. And there's no attempt to use open hands, so he doesn't do any of those things. But ask yourself, is this forceful? And you can make an argument, but he does. We want players to not go towards the chest and the head and neck area, right? And he kind of lowers his point of attack to go towards the knee. Now, you can make an argument he could break his knee, or leg or something like that, but you're going to have a hard time, in my opinion, selling to coaches that this hit is forceful. And I don't think it's forceful. And therefore, I think we're going to be best just leaving this alone. Again, to be a foul, it has to be a forceful hit. And this isn't really forceful. So I completely support the decision for no foul here, because, the kid gets right up. Nobody's upset. Nobody gets hit terribly hard. It looks bad, but is this really forceful? No. The hits we're trying to get out of the game are the blow up style hits, lowering a shoulder into the chest, head, neck area. This is not necessarily a hit that's going to get anybody too terribly hurt. So this is not forceful contact, so we would say no foul here. Okay, good job by the back judge here, 7-person crew in a scrimmage. It's this contact up here at the top. You can see this play is just clearly over. This is a blindside block. It's all the illegal things. It's late. It's a blindside block. This is unnecessary. It's 100% a foul, right? Field judge at the top of the screen. If you let's look at our field judge up here at the top of the screen. We see a reach. You see it. Call it, right? Line judge up here at the top of the screen. We got to hustle a little bit more. I don't know what we're doing a little. We're talking to the sideline. We're not focused, right? Let's have our attention towards the field. We kind of take our eyes off of all these players, and you can see if we're looking at our line judge at the top of the screen, at the point where contact is made, where this big blow up hit is, our line judge is actually turned to talk to the coaching staff or the field judge. Guys, stop turning your head to talk to the chain crew or the coaching staff. Just stop doing it, right? Because we get this massive hit and it should be caught by the line judge right in front of you, and instead we're turning our back to look at the benches. There's just no need to do this, and we've caught ourselves doing that a couple times. Field judge, you see it. I don't know why we reach and don't throw, but then we do see a flag fly in here from our back judge. So really good job by our back judge. I don't necessarily know why, and it's unimportant. We end up waving this off, and that's disappointing because it's absolutely a foul. Back judge, you see it. You do your job. You're cleaning up behind the play. You get a flag on the ground. It's the correct decision. Stay with it. So, unfortunately, we kind of let them get away with this cheap shot when we shouldn't have let that happen. So, I would say good job staying with the play and cleaning up the play by the back judge, but then you just got to have the courage of your convictions to go ahead and just stick with the foul because it's absolutely correct. It is a foul. Okay, first coaching point here. Short wings. We cannot be. If you're going to come out onto the field like this to talk about something, and I don't know what you're coming out here for, you just have to call an official's timeout. You can't just allow the ball to be live and be out this far because right now the ball has been marked ready for play by rule. The umpire's backed away from it. The ball has been marked ready. By rule, the offensive team can get down on the ball right now and snap it, and you're in harm's way. So we've got to get off the field. Now, again, if there's something urgent that needs your attention and you need to come onto the field like this, you just have to call an official's timeout. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, I need to call an official's timeout and go talk to number whatever about something. I don't mind that. But we can't just be out on the field while the ball's not ready for play. So we got to get off the field. The next thing, keep your eyes on the quarterback here. And another thing I want to point before we even get to the quarterback. Notice this is play 3, right? This is play 3 of a scrimmage game. We have to be ready to work from play 1, right? And our referee is absolutely ready to work on play 3 of a scrimmage game, right? Because again, keep our eyes on the quarterback. The defensive team jumps, but the referee correctly penalizes us for a false start. The quarterback is allowed to give a hard count. He's allowed to clap. He is not allowed to simulate a snap. And jerking his entire body, throwing his hands, throwing his shoulders, everything like this is simulating a snap. If Any of the other 10 players on the offensive team did this, we would call it a false start 100 times out of 100. But with quarterbacks, we let them get away with this stuff. This is not legal action. He is not allowed to throw his entire body like this. This is a false start, and it's correctly officiated by the referee. Okay, we're going to get a three-play vignette here about spotting the ball on a long play. Okay, so it really became a thing from the GHSA last year. I've been kind of trying to get it through our heads for the last 3 or 4, but the GHSA really kind of bit into it last year, and we're staying on that, right? Deep wings. I know what the mechanics book says. The short wings have the spot all the way down to the two, and the deep wings had it from two and in. I want us to throw that terminology out of our window, right? On these long, long plays, if the ball is just dead at the deep wing's feet, as soon as you can get your balance, come up and mark the play, right? And you can see how this could kind of bite us in a couple of situations here. So we get we're snapping from the 20, and we get like a 70-yard play, right? So he busts it. So first of all, really, really good mobile box mechanics. Our back judge is turning and running. Now we should be looking over our shoulder. Our deep wings are turning and running. And I love the effort from the short wing at the top of the screen. If I'm going to be honest, not to call you out, but the short wing at the bottom of the screen, we need a little bit more effort from you, right? But we do a pretty good job here, right? And he busts a long run and he gets tackled right here at the 18-yard line. Now, deep wings, you've done an excellent job. You're hustling your butt off. I am not saying you have to stop and freeze right here at the 18, right? You're human. Most of us are at our 40s and 50s. It's going to take a little bit of time to slow this train down the railroad tracks. I get it. Not upset with that at all, to be clear, right? But this ball is dead at the 18-yard line. Right about here, deep wings. Once you recognize, okay, I got my balance, do not be afraid to come up here and mark this ball. Okay? Our short wing, even the one that has busted his butt down here, is still 20 yards behind the play, right? It's going to take him some time. Now, he does an excellent job. Back judge, I know you lose your materials here, but especially in a 7-person crew, back judges, go ahead and mark this ball. Put this ball on the ground. The umpire is 70 yards away from us at this point, right? Now, when you put it on the ground, stay over the ball until the umpire gets there. Just don't let the offensive team come up there and snap it. We've got to stay over the ball. So I would like to see our umpire on this situation come up here and just go ahead and put this ball down. Again, we're worried about our materials that we dropped. I mean, you can see we're kind of having a conversation up here about where the ball is going to go. But because we're not firm and clear about where we're going to put it, our umpire kind of comes up and he's doing the best he can. He's 70 yards behind the play. And we'll go to the next play, and he gets the ball, and he comes all the way. The team's at the 12. We're ready to put the ball down at the 12, and you can see our short wings are trying to back him up. Somebody's got to be more affirmative, right? The referee is winding the clock, and we don't have the ball down. We don't have the ball down in the right spot, right? Guys, we've got to communicate better on this. Now, does it? We end up getting this corrected. I'll let the play continue to run. The short wings eventually get everybody's knowledge. We back everybody up, and yeah, sure, we end up putting this ball at the 18-yard line, and we get the spot mostly correct. That's fine. But if I go back, everybody's kind of milling around here at the 12. Offensive coordinator could say, "Well, I would have called that play if I'd have known we were at the 18. I thought we were at the 12, right?" These offensive coordinators can be very, very particular about where they might run a certain play. And more than that, just a credibility thing, right? Like we've allowed everybody to kind of come up here, and now we have to back them up. We just look a little not credible, if I'm being honest. So running back to the original play, so deep wings again. Once you get your balance, there's nothing major going on. Come up here and just hold the 18-yard line, right? And don't leave the 18-yard line until the short wings. I know the mechanics book says that's the short wing spot, but that is absurd on a 70-yard play when he gets tackled right at your feet. We want our deep wings to go ahead and mark this spot. And in that same vein, so here we get a play at the 42, 43-yard line. We get a play. Deep wing, you're in pretty good position, right? Maybe a little bit. I'd like to see you already on the goal line, but we're not in bad position. Keep working to that goal line, right? Because that's the important line. And then we get the tackle right here at the 4, and we're so concerned about, well, we don't have this spot. To heck with that, right? Deep wing, it's right here at your feet, right? Don't be concerned about, oh, well, I don't have this spot. Now, short wing, we do need to see more effort out of you. This official is just kind of observing at this point. Short wing, we do need to see more effort out of you to get down here. But deep wing, instead of being like, oh, we got tackled at the 4, that's not my spot. We want our deep wings to go ahead and mark this. Because, again, we get a little bit of confusion here. Where are we going to put the ball down? We're standing at the 1, then we put it at the 2. Now, again, the crew gets together and fixes this. But definitely an offensive coordinator is going to call a different play at the 4 versus the 2, right? He needs to know where the ball is being marked. And you can see we just have a little bit of indecision here, right? So again, deep wings, when the play ends at your feet, just mark the play. All right, not the best angle, I'll admit, but the coach sent this in, so I want to talk about it. This is just clearly, keep your eyes on the quarterback. This is just a clearly a late hit against the quarterback. You can see this defender has plenty of time to let up. In fact, we can run it back a little bit more. And at the time of the throw, he's a solid 3 steps away. This is well enough time to let up. And instead, he just kind of comes in. And to be clear, if you watch the defender, I'll slow it down. He actually kind of launches upwards at the quarterback's head and neck area. This has to be a foul. So referees, this is just the type of action we just cannot ignore. We cannot defend. You can see the offensive coach, he's like, my quarterback. Who's going to protect my quarterback? And he has a point here. So referees, we got to stay with our quarterbacks. This is just clearly late, clearly unnecessary. He goes high. We have to protect our quarterbacks. So I hope we would all agree this is clearly roughing the passer. All right, so that concludes our plays for the Week 0 training tape. Referees, let's go ahead and prepare our crews. Let's have a good pregame. The GHSA season obviously kicks off with Week 1. We've got a couple of big marquee matchups, so we all have to be prepared and do our best in these matchups. Good luck in Week 1.